And hello, welcome to Science TV and welcome to the Voice Show. My name is Videlis Njoki and this is my sign name. So please, I want to thank you for always supporting this show ever since it started. You always join us at the Voice Show, which we always bring to you every other Friday at 7:30 p.m. and we have a repeat every other Sunday at 7:30. Please don't forget to watch us, and if you're stuck on any other day, you on both days you can get to watch us on YouTube at Science TV. And today I have a very beautiful lady who's joining us, but before we continue, I really want her to introduce herself for us to know who she is.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Minnie Mbesa. I am a sign language interpreter working for Science Media Kenya Limited, and I'm happy to be hosted today by Videlis Njoki, who happens to be my colleague.
Welcome, and please feel welcome. And you've mentioned that you're here at Science TV. Please, can you tell us if you have any relationship with the deaf community?
Definitely, yes, I have a relationship with the deaf community. I am born in a family where we have a deaf member. That is my big sister. My big sister is deaf, and I'm so proud of her. I believe most of you know her because she has been working in the deaf community for the longest time. She's my elder sister, but definitely I look like I'm the oldest. Her name is Florence Mbodhie Mwilu. And I'm so proud of her. We grew up together since when I was a very young girl, as I have mentioned earlier. She's older than me. But as I grew up, she trained me the basic sign language. And it's a culture that we have in our family. You find most of us, even if not all who know sign language, but most of our family members, starting from my brothers, my sister, my mom, we at least know the basic sign language, including my son, by the way. My son currently is taking sign language. like mother, like son. I know most of the time you say like father, like son, but for me, I will say like mother, like son. He has been so much interested in sign language. Actually, for him, he completed just Form 4 just the other day. And instead of staying at home, he was quite interested in taking sign language. And as that supportive mom, I decided, why not? Why not? Let him go take it. He might be the next CEO after I retire. After I retire, I might take over my organization. You all know that I have an organization called SignSpeak Interpreters and Consultants Limited that offers sign language interpretation services. So he might be the youngest CEO in Kenya very soon because he's so much interested in sign language, of which he will still take another course that will be supporting that or something that really interests him in his future.
Wow, as you've heard, the family is ready. From the parent who had basic communication because of the sister, and now the new generation, or to the son, we are passing on the language, and that is so amazing. And as you can see, we are soon to have an upcoming CEO who's going to be running the organization, and they've just said that they've completed school recently, maybe. And as you've heard, the mom did not force the son to take up sign language. They had the interest to learn sign language, meaning when you decide to act, maybe you have a relative, or maybe you have anyone, a brother, a sister, anyone who knows sign language, and you learn some basic sign language, does not really make you a sign language interpreter. You have to have the interest, and you have to push yourself and have the feeling of wanting to become a sign language interpreter. But now back to Minnie Mbesa, the CEO of ScienceSpeak. And you've also worked with Science Media Kenya. You've told us you've grown up with a sister who is deaf, and the sister is older than you, maybe through the basic communication you were able to communicate. So please tell us, what was your motivation? What made you focus on sign language interpretation as a career? Or did you feel, or what even pushed you to even become a founder or a CEO of Science Speak? Because this is something we really need to understand deeply. Sometimes people feel they've been born in a family where they've gotten a relative, and that's guaranteed them to become a sign language interpreter.
Thank you so much, Videlis, for your question. What really motivated me to become a sign language interpreter? I could say, when, as I had said earlier, my sister is older than me. So when we had family gatherings, I could see her, she really suffered. She could just come, sit there, laugh, see us laughing, and she was just looking at us and asking me, what are they saying? And you can imagine now, with my basic sign language, I was just figure spelling everything, and it was quite boring. I did sign language just to be interpreting for my sister. I had not even thought of it as a career choice. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher. I've even taught in deaf schools for like, that is Kambu School for the Deaf, for like 5 good years. I was a teacher. I've taught for 5 years. But as I progressed, when I did now the interpretation as a course, that is when now I felt, it's like teaching is not my thing. Because during that time when I was teaching in a school, the school took me in as also a sign language interpreter. So anytime they had school events or anything, they could call me to come, to go with them, accompany the students even to the hospital to interpret for them. And that is where now my interest started growing, and I saw that was a huge opportunity. At the same time, in that school, we had board. All schools, they have board members who come for meetings. It happened one of the board members was a deaf person. I'm not going to mention the name of the deaf person because he's a well-known person in Kenya, but he happened to be one of the board members in the school. And that is when he requested, actually it's the principal who called me and asked me, Minnie, can you interpret for a deaf person? Then I was like, yes, why not? I can interpret for this deaf person. And when I met that person, at first, it really shook me. I was scared because this is a person, I could see him being posted on social media by the deaf people. I was quite scared. I didn't know whether I was able to interpret for him. But in the progress, I gained some confidence. That person really encouraged me to take interpretation. And then he was asking me, but I can see you are a very good upcoming interpreter. Why don't you try to be a sign language interpreter instead of you being a teacher? Because at that time, I had been employed by the BOM. So even the pay was not that good. And I said, why not? And he actually took the initiative of giving me the first job. That was just after 2 weeks after we had met. He gave me the first job. And let me tell you, I don't know, we say, let me tell you, Maina. Can you imagine what I was getting in a whole month as salary, what I was waiting for at the end of the month as a salary? I got it in 1 week and even more. And that is when,
Okay. Okay, so interpretation has money.
myself, what am I really doing in teaching? This is not my thing. The pay is too small, and we have another great opportunity over here that is paying better than the teaching. And that's how I moved from teaching. I quit teaching, and I moved to interpretation, where I went to Embu. There's also an organization for a very good friend of mine, Jacob. It's called Deaf Empowerment Society of Kenya. That is where now I took the career seriously before I moved to Nairobi. And you had also asked about, just because I'm born in, or anybody is born in a deaf family, where they have a deaf family member, does it become automatically you are a sign language interpreter? What I can say, it's no. It is a no. Just because Just because you are born in a family that has a deaf family member, whether it's a deaf mother, whether it's a deaf sister or a brother, it does not make you to be automatically a sign language interpreter. Sign language interpretation is a profession like any other. And you need to go through the schooling system where you learn how to interpret, because it's not just signing words. Sign language is not just signing words as they are. I know you're a deaf person, you understand these things when I talk about it's not about signing. It's something you need to internalize, get the concept, and give it as it is without even changing a meaning. I hope I've answered you, Videlis.
Wow. And there's something which you've said, or there's a more which I would have wanted to be added, but allow me to ask, where did the love, where did the passion, where did the motivation? Tell us about the journey of it starting, because I know it wasn't only the money that was the motivation for you to get to the field, but there's a lot of motivation and inspiration someone needs for them to pursue sign language as a career, as a profession. And when you went to school, you're teaching, does that guarantee you to be part of the community as a sign language interpreter, or do you just wake up one morning and you're now a professional? There's a whole journey which someone has to go through. As you've heard, there's a board member who actually was your motivation. They pushed you to now join this profession, and this deaf person showed you the possibility, and that was your starting point, your motivation for you to join the community and the profession of sign language interpretation. Sometime maybe you were in fear, maybe you didn't know where to start, and maybe you were like, this is not really something I want to pursue. Or if you're now a teacher, does that guarantee you to be a sign language interpreter? I would say no, because these are two different fields which are working independently and differently. So please tell us, you've mentioned something about, you actually starting Science Speak, or an organization by the name Science Speak, because I know we have so many upcoming interpreters out there in the field. At the same time, we have so many people who are trying to bridge the gap, and sometimes when someone has a family member, they think they automatically become a sign language interpreter. Please, you have to understand the understanding of the Kenya Sign Language, or the context, or everything that comes with it for you to become a professional. So that you don't misuse your position or the language. And now we have so many institutions which are coming up everywhere, most of which are trying to teach basic sign language. You find that people teach for 3 months, and after that the student now becomes or identifies themselves as a professional sign language interpreter. So, and then you want to provide services in government institutions, in hospitals, in different private sector, or in different setup. Please explain to us, what does it need for someone to be identified as a professional sign language interpreter, without for them to bridge the communication gap, and also make sure we reduce the communication barrier which we always face. So this whole thing is getting me to ask you, Minnie, please tell us, this journey which you've had when you were actually merging your work, where you were getting from. I really want to understand what it means for someone to become a professional sign language interpreter, and what it will need for this person to be identified as a professional in the field, because I know you've mentored so many people, and now you're mentoring your son, and I'm sure after school they're not going to become a professional just after school, because there's a journey which they need to have for them to have. So please talk to the viewer out there who doesn't really understand the field of interpretation.
Such a long question. But what I can say, Videlis, for the upcoming interpreters, it's something that I've seen we have a huge gap. When it comes to mentorship, even personally myself, it was not easy for me to get into the field. I felt like somehow I was thrown. I did this sign language interpretation. Apart from teaching, I had done also interpretation, but specifically for interpreting for my sister. But after I completed it and I went to Kambui School for the Deaf now to teach the deaf, somehow I was focusing on teaching only, but later, now after the deaf person took me and mentored me, that is when now I decided, let me take this as a profession. And we have a gap that is there right now. Everyone is teaching sign language on TikTok, especially TikTok. Oh my goodness. I don't know what we are supposed to do. I don't know what the deaf community are supposed to do, because someone just learns the basic sign language and automatically they feel that they are sign language interpreters or sign language tutors. And the things they are teaching, it's totally wrong. I see it and I feel so much devastated, so sad. I feel like crying at times, because this is a language that we need to protect, just like the same way we protect English and Swahili. We need to protect it. And unless we do it, I will say, just like the way Jack was saying, the late Jack Owiti, he really defended, may his soul rest in peace, he really defended sign language interpretation and sign language as the language, as the linguistics part of it. He could say, we are going to have so many monkeys in the forest just pooping everywhere. And that is what we can see. We have so many monkeys in our forests, and we need to clean that up. Talking as a former Vice Secretary General of Kenyan Sign Language Interpreters, it's something that we tried, but what we are missing right now are the policies. We had the KSL bill that was presented in Parliament. That is something that can really assist us in regulating the sign language interpretation sector. People are just being trained for 3 months, and because they know people who know people in the government, you find even the people getting those opportunities for interpretation are people who don't even know what they are really interpreting. And it really saddens me. You as a deaf person and other deaf people, you attend a meeting, and we have seen videos everywhere circulating on social media. You attend meetings, and the people interpreting in those meetings, they are just throwing their hands. And it's just because someone learned a basic sign language or learned the sign language in TikTok, and they claim to be sign language interpreters, and they have maybe cousins or aunties in those parastatals in the ministry who say, my cousin knows sign language, my nephew knows sign language, and they're given that opportunity, which is very wrong. We need to have regulations that we really protect this profession and protect the language of the deaf. It's the third national language, and we need to respect it. I'll call upon KNAD and even the deaf community yourselves. You are the ones who are supposed also to defend this language, because if you don't do it, very soon it will be a messed up society. A society that we have upholded it for a very long time, we have protected it. For the upcoming interpreters, what I always say and what I advise the upcoming interpreters, please trust the process. Don't be in a rush to earn those dollars or those shillings. Personally, it took me a long journey. Apart from the one I was called like instantly, and I got that opportunity for a week by a friend of mine, the deaf person, and it's because he saw a potential in me. It is about passion. I was interpreting for the students. I would not say I was very good interpreter, but it took me time to be a professional interpreter, because I can say, and I believe I am one of them. I am one of the professional interpreters. I uphold on the ethics of sign language interpretation and the codes of ethics of sign language interpretation, which some are your dress code. Your dress code really tells a lot. How you dress, it will tell a lot. And that one, I am always 100% sure I'm one of the best dressed interpreters in Kenya. I uphold those ethics. So upcoming interpreters, trust the process. Don't be in a rush to make the dollars. Don't get into TikTok to train things that are not correct. If you are not certain, ask. We always say, this is the language for the deaf. Let them do the training. Let us just support them where we can. And even to my son, who is taking sign language, right now I cannot tell him you are a professional sign language interpreter. He has to trust the process. We are not in a rush, even if it takes 3 years, 5 years for him to be professional, but through the mentorship programs that we do have. We usually have mentorship programs. We take upcoming interpreters. You have seen even the interpreters who have passed through my hands today. They are being poached every now and then. I get this one, I mentor. They get other opportunities, they leave us hanging at Science TV, right? Because most of our mentorship programs that we do, at Science TV, we can say that we give the best of the trainings because you interact with the deaf people, you interact with us, other interpreters who have been in the field, and our interpreters end up to being the best in the field, right? So trust the process. You better even come to Science TV. We are going to give you those mentorship programs that we do. We are going to mentor you to be the best, but don't be in a rush. It took me like 7 years to be accepted in this profession. 7 good years to be fully accepted, like I can now interpret in big meetings. I started with the small meetings, start small with a mentor, and I had to get mentors. And I'm going to shout out to my mentors because they did an amazing job. We have Damian, Evans Damian. He mentored me to be who I am today. Yes, Damian.
Okay, Damian Evans. Okay. Okay, I want you to receive your flowers.
Nancy Njoki Nancy Njoki also assisted me, who is also my co-founder for Science
Okay,
Speak.
Nancy, also I see you. Please receive your flowers. Okay, let me leave it at that.
We also have Leonida, who has really mentored us. Leonida has mentored us through our social media platforms. So
Humbled by Leonida.
to them. Those are the people I was looking up to become they were my role models. That is what I can say. So take your time. Don't be in a rush to get those dollars or to just be famous through social media, because it won't take you anywhere. After all, the deaf are watching. They're posting your faces on social media. We can see you. We can see what you are doing. And we are coming for you. Personally, I'm coming for you. When I get time, I will be in your inboxes just to tell you whatever you are doing is not right. And when you are corrected, accept your mistakes, learn from it, and look for someone to mentor you, to work closely with you so that you can go far.
I really want to add much more, but now allow me to take a short break and we are going to be back to continue with this interesting discussion. And this is and this is where we get to advocate for KSL through Science Speak. I'm speaking to the founder and the CEO of Science Speak organization, and this conversation, who's also working at Science TV Kenya.